and welcome back to my channel. My name is Fjord Gamer Mom, and today I will continue building the city of Springville. For those of you who have watched my previous videos, you know I'm slow. I play slow. I spend a lot of time placing down squares to make the housing correct, or correct in my mind. But today, hopefully, we will get the speed up and we will see the population rising to maybe higher level, hopefully. If not, then maybe I should consider starting playing something else. But we'll see. As you can see, the population of the town has actually jumped up to 1,500. So we are getting somewhere in the play. But I have to focus on the placement of the housing because the demand for both the high, low, and medium residential buildings in the city is quite high. And to to be able to evolve the city and also evolve into a larger city than a grand village, I need to get the speed up, and I need to also be able to place down some of the other features you get a hold of when the city expands and when the level of the city rises from the grand village, which we are at now, and up to other sizes of the city, or yeah, sizes of the city. And due to the demand of the high density residential buildings, I'm able to place down a few of the apartment buildings, and those will increase the population quite a lot in a shorter period of time than the placement of the small housing that I've been doing in the previous episodes. And as you can see, I'm flying around the map a lot to figure out where to place them down, the apartment buildings, because although it's nice to have big squares, or not squares, big areas of the high density residential buildings, I in the beginning of the game there is a lot of buildings that has to be placed, like the university that I will be placing later on. And I like the area around the university to be filled up with quite a lot of different buildings, both offices, commercial, and high and low and medium residential buildings. So I have left a square or a patch for the university to be placed down in, because I need to also get the education level of the citizens of Springville up to a higher level, so they can start demanding other workplaces than the polluting and noisy and gray industrial factories that are at this level. So yeah, I'm both placing down some high residential buildings in both the area where I have previously placed down just medium and low residential, and I'm also placing down some in the areas where I have a mix of commercial and higher residential buildings. And it seems quite messy because I don't have a plan. As I've told you before, I don't go into the game with a plan of the downtown being at that placement and the industrial area being at the other place. So I'm, as I said before, I struggle a lot in the beginning of the city skylines to and also other city building games to get a correct placement of the different areas. But it will be it will get better as the game progresses. And here is one of the reasons that I don't like placing down the pathways, because I like placing the pathways after I have placed the houses and the houses has have been built, because then it seems to be you can kind of see how the life in the city evolves and where people might like to walk. But when you place them down, it changes the the, the layout of the city and the ground under the pathway. So it kind of messes up the already placed houses. So that's quite annoying. So I have to go in again and make all the little green squares to fill out where I want the houses to be placed down. So that's quite annoying. But although it's annoying to have to go in and place down the houses again, I find it delightful. That's a strange word, but I find it enjoyable to have these small pathways going in between the houses and seeing people walking on them and getting from one place to another just by walking instead of taking the car. And that's why I'm spending some time doing it, just so the city looks more alive, because as I'm not a fan of the patterns, I'm a fan of the dynamic city where you can see life evolving, or not evolving, but life unfolding in every corner and every street of the city, and also in the pathway. And that's why I'm also spending some time decorating it, because I also think that this area of the city is most likely the area that I will not change as the game continues, because I know that probably the university I will have to change. I will have to put it somewhere else, because placement was not the optimal, but it's a place to start, because I don't want it to be outside of the city. I want it to be in a part of the city, maybe not the high commercial parts or the office where there is a lot of offices and a lot of commercial uh, buildings, but I want it to be in a place where you can kind of feel like it's the old part of town, where the you can see the history of the town, or how it started and how it evolves. So yeah, I know I have to change the placement of the university at some point, and probably a lot of the other buildings I have placed down will be changed as the city continues to grow. But the city is growing, I would say, quite fast right now, as the housing or residential placements is being made. You can see that we're almost reaching 2000. And yeah, but I will have to also expand the commercial district, or the commercial area that I have placed down before. I I do place down some of the pathways in the commercial area, but I'm not sure why I'm doing that. I think it is so that the people living can just, instead of walking on a crowded pavement where there are cars passing by, probably a build up of traffic will also happen after a while. I think it's nice if they can just take the back alley, but it's not an alley, it's just the pathway. So, and I know that I probably will have to delete those also later on in the game, because then the buildings will be bigger, and the we will get a we will unlock the higher commercial buildings, higher density commercial buildings, and those will need more space. So so I'm just doing it for the sake of people being able to walk faster from one street to the other street. It's not that meaningful, but and there's also not actually a need for the payment, but I like them. I wish I wish I could use them more in a better way, but probably I will have to practice a lot using them because I'm not good at placing them, and I would also like them to go above the roads so you can have the people walking over the road, not on the road when they have to cross them, because that will fix a lot of the traffic issues that will occur later in the game. But yeah, I'm expanding some of the commercial districts, placing down more commercial buildings as there is also a demand for that. And as I spoke about, the traffic situation can be quite hard to manage in city skylines too. And that's part of the what makes the game very exciting to play, because you have to figure out how to manage the cars and the traffic that needs to flow in the city for people to get to work and to get to the shops and to get to their homes and everything. And what I see here in the beginning is that a lot of people are parking their cars in the streets, which is making the street space of the street smaller. And to avoid that, I know I could place down districts, but I'm not getting into the districts quite yet, as I'm not uh, finished with the layout of the city, and that's why I'm placing down some of the trees and the decorations on the side of the streets to not have the cars there, because it makes it look quite messy with the traffic and the cars being placed there. And I have tried placing down some of the parking lots, but not everybody is using them. As you can see, it's a shorter distance to place the car in the street than to place them at the parking lot. So that's why. I guess that's why people are placing the cars in the streets, and it makes it looks it makes it look like there is a lot more traffic than there actually is in the city right now. So placing down some beautiful trees will make it look prettier. That's what it's all about, making it look nice for the people living in Springville. But I guess I will have to place down more of the parking lots eventually to have people being able to park their cars somewhere, because some of them are having to drive quite far to get to their workplace. So it's quite important that they have somewhere to park their car, and that will also help with the situation where people are parking on the streets instead of parking in the parking lots. It's actually the few parking lots I have placed down already is quite full, and that is good, because that means that I placed them down correctly, or in placements where people would like to park their cars. So yeah. But also, what we can see here is that there is quite a lot of the same looking buildings popping up in the commercial districts, and that's what I'm trying to avoid by placing down the squares of blue and squares of green when I'm placing the houses, instead of them being the same as I'm as happens a lot more, I think, when you place down uh, big areas of blue or green, then the game can just spawn in whatever building they would like to have in that place. But I guess there's also a logic behind which buildings are being placed down by the game, or being spawned or being built by the game, because
it's the buildings that have that are required in the city to make the city grow. So it's quite fascinating. I'm liking that thought, but I am not liking the buildings being the same, or multiple buildings in a row being exactly the same building. It gets kind of boring, but it it also makes it kind of lifelike, because when you look at a city being built, there is a lot of buildings looking quite the same, or looking alike, because they are built in the same time period.
And I'm also placing down a few parks as we have unlocked them. It's nice having the parks in the area where people live, because that makes them happy. Then they can go to the park with their kids or with their friends, or meet the neighbors in at the park, and hang out there and be happy. I also placing down a playground where the school is, but I see that the placement of the school is quite, it's not very good, because I'm not able to put in very many of the extra things you can place down with the school. And there is also a demand for offices in the city now. It's not a big demand, but maybe one or two buildings will be able to pop up when I place down the purple color of squares again. So that will be quite interesting. Just randomly placing them down here now. And also over to the dreaded, I'm tempted to say, area of the farming, where I place down the animal farms at the location where I later on will have to place down the graining farms, which also is unlocked now. Right now, trying to place down some of the stone, because people need stone to be able to decorate their housings and stuff like that. So, and I recorded this game, or this I played this quite a long time ago, because there has been a winter break in Norway this, or in my city this week, and I have had my kids at home almost all week, so I haven't had time to play anything, and not look at any of the recordings I have done. So I'm quite dreading going into the game again, because I see that I have to change a lot of the placement of the industrial specific or the specific industrial areas, because I need grain, and I also need stone, and I also need the animals. So not looking forward to that one, but I will get there someday, maybe. But as of now, Springville has over 2,000 people living here. So it's going up, and that's good. And I think that the pace of the game has taken itself up some. So and I would have to also make sure that there is enough housing for people to be able to find a place to live if they want to live in Springville. So I've said it before. I don't like the grid patterns that much, but I'm forced to do some of it in this, both for the commercial and the residential areas, so that the people have a place to live. I cannot only focus on the looks of the city. I have to focus on the availability of housing for people to be able to increase the population even more, because 2000, that is almost the double of what we had in the last episode, but still, it's not going quite fast enough, I think. And I'm really looking forward to being able to start with the buses so that the people don't have to drive their own cars and they will be able to take a bus. It's nice sitting on a bus and being transported from one place to another and then not having to do anything else than just sit there and be quiet and listen to music or something. And it looks like it's going to be building up quite tall here, and that's nice. It means more people coming into the city, and the demands will be lower. But as we also can see, the placement of the university wasn't good at all. It's just stuck up there in a corner. But and I would like there to be roads around it, so it leads people to and around the university, and so I will have to change that after a while. But I'll continue building up the surrounding area around the university so that more people are living in the area around the university, because I would like this to be a mix of both high-rise buildings, or not high-rise, but yeah, higher buildings and houses, and also a commercial district, and also a few offices, I think.
And placing down some row houses here. Feel like that would be a nice place to have some row houses. And there is also some gaps in the leafy structure I have built before, and also the grid pattern that I built before. So trying to fill out those places, as the demand for the residential houses are quite high right now. I'm trying to lower or fill the demand, and also trying to make the areas look more full of houses, more lifelike. So spending quite a lot of time trying to fill out most of the places where I already have placed down roads, and to make most or make a lot of people move into those places. And it takes quite a while to do this, but I feel like it's a nice way to start out the city before I have to place down even more grid patterns. As I've said before, I'm not a big fan of those, but they will be in some places around the city, because it's easy and fast way to evolve the city up to a larger number of people living in the city.
But as I'm placing down this, I try to, in the grid pattern, I try to have a mixture of both the row houses and the smaller houses. So the low demand and medium demand. And also the demand for some offices in the city is popping up. So I'm placing down a few of those right beside the main road, or what is right now the main road. And also filling out with some commercial buildings, as the demand for commercial buildings are very, very high in this city right now. And I feel like the demand for things in the city is speeding up, both in terms of the medium residential and the commercial, and the low residential demand is always high, I feel. So it's and the numbers of people moving into the city is quite going up quite high, and quite fast right now. And also the money is in plus. We're in the greens, so it's going quite well with the start of this city. Springville is growing up to be a beautiful and good city in both the layout of the city and in the economic department, I say, and also that people are wanting to move to the city of Springville, and that's good. And there is also a demand for industrial area in the city. People need workplaces, and I will have to provide them with the workplaces so they can earn money and they can also make products to sell in the commercial districts and also maybe products that will be exported out of the city later on. But as I've said before, I don't like the industrial area because they cause pollution, air pollution, and ground pollution, and they will leave the area that I start out as the industrial area to be an area where I can later on place down the residential buildings because the ground will be too polluted. So I mostly place them around the coal plant as that area will be just it will be nobody will want to live there because eventually I will also move the coal plant around. So I think that that is a nice placement for the industrial area in the beginning. And as I unlock more tiles and decide on which tiles I will buy and in which direction I want my city to grow, I will probably end up moving the industrial area also, maybe down by the river or the ocean or the sea, so that we can have a place for the export ships, the boats that transfer the goods to other cities. So that will probably end up happening later on in the game that I will move the industrial area. But now the demand for both the industrial and commercial districts are low, so I try to expand the city with the leafy, wavy, flowy streets that are going near the river to be a nice neighborhood, or not neighborhood, but nice place in the city where the form of the roads are matching or trying to match the flow of the river that is beside it, and also placing down the squares of green to make little patches of houses, trying to just make one and one house pop up in this area, because I know as the game progresses now, I will have to go into more of the grid pattern and not continue building just the flowy, wavy roads, uh, because that will not make the city grow as fast as I need it to grow, or I don't need it to grow fast because I like the city to evolve slow, but to get up to a level where I can place down the other or unlock the other features of the town, I will have to speed up the population quite a lot so that it doesn't leave us with a city that stays this small because of my obsession with the flowy, wavy, leafy roads that I so much enjoy placing down. But it's kind of tiring, or I get tired of placing down the squares. But I also enjoy it. So yeah, that's what I'm trying to do here. And there's also a road going up to the other border, or the now border of the city. So it's nice if we can have more people coming in from that side also, and making the city a place where people come in from both sides, not just one side, because I like when people can drive through the city and not just one part of the city being left uninhabited. But yeah, I think in this episode we have done quite a lot. The population is now almost 2,500 or almost 2,400, and it's growing rapidly. The demand for residential areas are still high, and that's good. And we have a blooming commercial area that is building up here, and also some apartment buildings that are building up quite high. So I feel like we have done a lot, and I think we will just end this episode here right now. And I would like to say thank you for watching. To those of you who have watched, I hope you enjoy. And I will see you again in a later episode of this playthrough of City Skylines 2.